Hello and a very good afternoon to you from the Military Stadium here in Aldershot for coverage of the 2019 Army Football Final. And it's going to be a classic afternoon, I'm sure. One thing we can be absolutely certain about is going to be a new name on the trophy today, because neither of the two teams in action today have ever reached the final before. They are 2-1 Regiment, Royal Engineers, 2-1 Engineer Regiment, and 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. They'll be battling it out here on the pitch in Aldershot very shortly. It's been an incredibly busy week, as you probably have gathered. If you're following forces sport, we have the Army-Navy game, of course, at Twickenham on Saturday. Last night, an exciting Army boxing final over in Colchester, and we switch today to the splendour of the old Military Stadium here in Aldershot for the match here, which will be kicking off at 3 o'clock UK time this afternoon. My pleasure to joining us here for the commentary today is Captain Sean Birchnell, who's the man in charge of Army football. He's the main man, the lead coach of Army football. Sean, thanks for joining us today, and looking forward to a game of maybe two unknown quantities, really, aren't we?
Yeah, very much so, and they've done exceptionally well to get to the final, and the prestige of being in the Army Cup final is something that can never ever be underestimated. I was unfortunate to lose 2 semi-finals when I used to play many years ago, and so they've done extremely well to get to a final. Yeah,
there are a couple of players, I think, certainly in the 2-1 Engineer Regiment side, who have also had 2 previous Cup final appearances, and one of them is Danny Wilson, who's the centre-back today for the team from the 2-1 Engineer Regiment, and he has had 2 final appearances. Unfortunately for him, has never lifted the trophy, so maybe it'll be third time lucky for him today. And as you can see, we've got an Apache helicopter making its arrival with the match ball, one assumes. I'm not quite sure how far the Apache has come from. Probably not from Estonia, where I gather there's a lot of the lads at the moment. And if you're watching over in Estonia, a very good afternoon to you. And you're more than welcome to be joining us today. But the Apache bringing in the match ball, I'm not quite sure whether it's going to touch down on the pitch or not, or just do a fly past for us today, Sean. As the 2 sets of players now come out onto the pitch. What sort of a game are you expecting today?
Well, I think the rain we've just had, or the hailstone we've just had, will have a little bit of an effect. It'll put a little bit of zip on the top of the surface, but it will be extremely competitive. Service football is always competitive. You get 100% commitment from every player out there, but as long as it's done in the right way, I see a great game of football.
And who's your money on? It's difficult to tell, isn't it? Obviously, with 2 teams that we don't know too much about. But, 2-1 Engineer Regiment, they're battling it out on 4 fronts for success this year. They've already reached the Sapper Cup final. They're also top of the Northern Premier League at the moment. And here they are in the Army Cup final. So they're obviously a good side. Yeah,
and speaking to the Engineer boys that are in the men's senior team, they speak quite highly of some of their players. There's one of the players, Lance called Don Creamer, who has played for the Army previously, but not in my tenure, who's looking to get back involved. And there's a couple of under-23 players spattering between the 2 sides. So it should be extremely competitive, and technically some of these players are very good.
And it's not often you see 2 team captains both wearing the number 9 shirt, but they're both strikers, aren't they? You mentioned Dom Creamer and also Stuart Isaacson, who is the captain of the 3 Army Air Corps side as well. A couple of the Army Air Corps players, Dan Rimmel and also Adam Brown, they are currently on detachment out in Estonia, and they have been brought back by the commanding officer to play in this game, which suggests that they could be 2 players to watch today.
Yeah, and I think it's great that the commanding officer can support. It is the soldiers' game, and it's such a prestige event. It's such an achievement to get to a final, and I know deployments do take priority, but if they can get them back in any way to give them that opportunity to play and demonstrate how good they are on the football pitch, and it should be utilised as it has been.
I'm sure you'll be watching this game with a view to maybe eyeing a few players. There are a few under-23 players, I think, who have been successful. Dan Tewksbury has played for Army under-23s in the 3 Army Air Corps team. And I think there are several who have got under-23 players. Oliver Roberts as well from the Army Air Corps. He's seen as quite a big talent. So are you doing it on a bit of a spying mission today as well as working for us?
Yeah, very much so. And I come to a lot of games. I was at the Woolwich Cup final only last week as well between the Engineers and the Royal Signals. Young Tewkesbury was with the Army Air Corps. I was assistant coach with Paul Dale with the under-23s 2 years ago when we won the inter-services at that level, and Tewkes was quite pivotal for us in the centre of the park, and no doubt he should have a big impact on the game today.
Well, we'll certainly be looking out for that as the players now just being introduced to the various dignitaries here. I know the commanding officer of 3 Army Air Corps is going to be heading back. I think he's only here for the first half, so he'll obviously want to be seeing his side in front. But it's going to be a tough job, I think, for both of these teams. Obviously, that you mentioned we've had a hailstorm already, and I suspect that we may not have seen the last of the rain here this afternoon. That's going to make it quite interesting. In fact, as we speak, it is beginning to sheet down again.
Yeah, and I think it is. We are due showers this afternoon, which will have an impact because the ball will move a lot quicker across the ground. So.
So the national anthem observed then, of course, as it clearly would be, and we're just about ready to get underway here at the Military Stadium this afternoon for this 2019 Army Cup final, the 119th meeting for this famous old trophy, which makes it one of the oldest competitions, of course, in football. And just looking at the players, obviously shaking hands with each other, and our official this afternoon, just to run through that. The referee today is Captain John Brown, with his assistants are Corporal Hinson and WO2 Slynn. The 4th official today is Major Bamford. Let's hope they're not going to be too busy today, but we're going to have a really exciting game. The Sappers in their green, and the Army Air Corps, 3 Army Air Corps in their blue shirts and black shorts. Jason, the last few minutes, I wonder what the coaches are going to be saying to their players. Enjoy the game, presumably.
Yeah, I think there's an old cliche in football, and I think it's important that they go and play the game and not the occasion. The adrenaline will be running at this point, and they've been coached well to get to this point, and let's hope they don't lose track of exactly what they've been doing in the preparation for this. I know from the Army players that the Engineers have got 2 experienced coaches that are both going through their B licence coach at the moment, if not just qualified. So they'll understand it. Both teams will have game plans, and it's important that they just go out there once it settles down, because we'll probably have a frantic 3 or 4 minutes. But once the game settles down, they'll then be able to take responsibility, take hold game, get control of their game plan, and hopefully play how they want to play.
Indeed. Pitch looking in wonderful condition. It's always a good pitch here at the Military Stadium. A lot of time and effort is spent on making it the best it can possibly be, and it's a great occasion. I mean, I think to play in an Army Cup final is a very special experience for all of these players, and no matter where they end up playing, and some of them may go on to even greater things than this level, the memory of playing in an Army Cup final is something very special. It's something that a lot of soldiers who would love to never get the chance to do.
Yeah, very much so, and they do have to enjoy the occasion, but they have to now realise that they're here to play this game of football, and they've come here to win. They've not come here to enjoy it, they've come here to win the game. Hopefully we're in for a great game on a great surface, and I look forward to see how it pans out.
Plenty of goals. Well, referee just about to get the match underway, and it's going to be the Sappers to kick off, playing from left to right as we watch on the famous old stand here at the Military Stadium. It's good to see there are a few people here. It's probably not supported as well as we might have seen in previous years, in the days of national service, when in fact Wembley Stadium was packed out for the Army Cup final. But we've certainly got a reasonable attendance here today, running into a few hundred, which is great, and hopefully they will be cheering on their teams, respective teams that they support here this afternoon.
Yeah, and I think one of the units, obviously the Army Air Corps being deployed at the moment, can be difficult for them to gain some support, but you do see some of the lighter blue berets in the stand to our left, and there's lots of Royal Engineers out there, and it is good to see so many here.
Louis Clark then with the throw-in, but it's straight away the Sappers on the attack here. They've got a chance breaking into the penalty area, but well cut out there for the Sappers by Adam Brown, and we've got the first corner of the game just in the first minute. And this first goal, of course, is very important, whoever gets it.
I think it's at this point we see what's been going on in the training ground, to see what these boys have prepared, how they attack the flight of the ball.
The corner then coming in, taken short and flicked forward, but a chance for... And it's straight in, and it is a goal. We've had an early goal. What a start for the Sappers. Well, it just weren't picked up at all, and it's in the back of the net already. Well, just a minute play. Let's have a look at the replay, and we can see it was tucked in by the number 4. That's Adam Gollings who scores the goal for the Sappers as they take an early lead here.
And you can see it's obviously something they've worked on, where they've kept the ball low, created an overload on the back post, got something on target, which in these conditions, a ball slipping in front of the goalkeeper wasn't there to hold it, and someone was alive early doors.
Well, what a start for Adam Gollings then, getting the goal from the corner. It was a terrific bit of play from the that free kick, or that set piece there, and that really has set the game alight already. We were hoping for an early goal, and we've certainly got it. 1-0 it is to the team from 21 Engineer Regiment from North Yorkshire, of course, based in Ripon. Their manager, Scott Watson, 30 years experience in Army football, will be absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, and it settles the nerves down now for the team. That's everything they've worked on. There'll be both sets of teams will be sat there saying, let's have a great start. Obviously, the Engineers have started extremely well, took control of the game, and let's just see now if they can settle it down. You normally get quite a good reaction from the team that concede quite early, so let's see what the Army Air Corps do from here.
Well, it's an offside decision, so it'll be Ash Gotham to take the free kick. Now to play, the referee giving the decision in favour of the Army Air Corps here. And if you're watching over in Estonia today and you're cheering your boys on, don't worry, there's plenty of time to go. Conceding that early goal, though, in the first minute will certainly have helped settle the nerves on the part of the Sappers. Clark brought, though, forward in midfield. Good challenge. Here's Liam Davis. Plays it forward, but that's going to roll out of play. Just 3 minutes played here in the 2019 Army Cup final, and the Sappers of 21 Engineer Regiment lead 3 Army Air Corps 1-0. An early goal from Adam Gollings. Warren Smith to take the throw in. And a man I expect to see really get involved in this game is Mark Kidd, number 10 there for the Air Corps. Apparently, according to the figures, he's a cross between Joey Barton and Neil Ruddock. So we'll see whether that pans out. which suggests he's probably quite a committed player, the staff sergeant.
Yes, and no doubt he'll say it's experience, but we'll see how that pans out.
A chance then for the Sappers once again, but the ball ends up in the very experienced hands of Staff Sergeant Ken Copeland, veteran of regimental and corps football. I think he's played army football, hasn't he, as Ken? I've seen his name mentioned on numerous occasions. Very much a father figure, I think, in the Air Corps side, back in corps football and regimental football again after a few years layoff.
And I think the Air Corps will need players like him now. To have that setback early doors, they'll need experience now from those players that have played at corps level, played at army level, just to calm them down. Like you said, there's a long time to go in this game.
Smith, but his through ball is challenged again, and an opportunity now for the Sappers captain Dominic Creamer to get involved. As I said, it's interesting. We've got both team captains are wearing number 9 today, so we could have the captains involved in very much in goal action here. 6 minutes on the clock, and 1-0 to the team in green.
See if the Air Corps can obviously defend another ball from a wide area and see how they can react to this. It'll be interesting to see if the Engineers change what they do from the corner that resulted in the goal.
And Sapper Robert Ridley is going to take the free kick. A lot of energy in that box. Ridley with the free kick, but well headed clear, and that was Kidd who got that away. Mark Kidd back there helping his defence. Ball out of play for another throw in. But it's certainly the Sappers showing all the early intent, isn't it, at the moment, Sean?
It is, yeah, but it's good that the Army Air Corps have not panicked, and they're starting to press. They're moving in their units, going forward and putting the Engineers under pressure in the middle third, hoping that they can hopefully break into the final third and create an opportunity on goal.
Bit of a midfield battle out there. That's Ridley again. He's already stamping his authority on the game. That's a back pass to Gotham. Sapper Ash Gotham. Big Manchester City fan, apparently. And no doubt he was celebrating on Monday night with that amazing goal that City scored against my team, Leicester, to deny the Foxes a point and to keep Liverpool at bay. But what a performance from Liverpool last night. Everyone's talking about it.
Absolutely unbelievable. And they are a special football club, and creating nights like that at Anfield, for those that obviously have been to Anfield in the past, it can be, on European nights under the lights, can be quite an occasion. And
two very special teams in the Premier League, let's face it. It's extraordinary if Liverpool don't win the league and finish with the number of points they have. it's astonishing, but all credit to Manchester City. Anyway, back to the action here on the field in Aldershot with the Army final. That's offside against Creamer, who was just caught offside there. The Air Corps moving their players' defensive line. They seem to have settled down now, which will suit their head coach W2 Lewis Whitaker, who's brought his players down here today from Watersham. But that's too long, that ball there, by Lewis Clark. So it will be another goal kick. Big wide open space, this pitch here, isn't it? It's a big pitch here at Aldershot.
It is, and I think it's good to see that the Army Air Corps are willing to press and willing to push men forward. I think what they've got to try and do, especially with the surface being as wet as it is, they've got to try and play it on the floor and not try and clip it in behind, because once it clips in behind, it's the floor, it's going to be skipping through for a goal kick, as it just happened there.
Davis. Chance now then for Ridley on that side, and he's found his man. He's found Owen Jordan.
The Engineers have started really well. They seem extremely composed on the ball, quite happy to play through the thirds. Quite impressed so far.
Well, that early goal can't have done any harm, could it, at all?
No, right, and it does calm you down, I suppose, yeah.
And they have the throw on the far side. Cross comes in. Over the top. No danger to the Air Corps goal there, the 3 Army Air Corps goal. And it remains 1-0 to 2-1 Engineer Regiment. Early moments, 10 minutes played here in Aldershot. Live with us this afternoon on the Forces Network and also on our YouTube channel for the Forces Sports Show. Also live on Facebook today on Forces News Facebook. Wherever you are, you're more than welcome. This live coverage of the Army final. There's another chance for Creamer there. It looks as though they're really playing quite deep. They're pushing forward, aren't they, the Air Corps defence? And they could well be caught out here. There's a bit of pace in that forward line.
There is, and I think they've got to take control a little bit, because it can be a dangerous game if you're going to play such a high line at times, because one of them will, as we've just seen there, one of them will make a decision to step back in.
Yeah, it was Liam Davis who, if he had half a yard, could well have been in there. Throw-in, though, goes to the men in dark blue. Should be taken by Warren Smith. Tewkesbury. Attempting to get the shot in there was Isaacson, the Air Corps, 3 Army Air Corps captain. But dealt with by the defence. Still, though, it's the Army Air Corps pressing. As a shot comes in there from Daniel Rimmel. Corps and regimental player, standout player for them in the last 4 seasons, and he's got their first shot on target in this game. Nearly 12 minutes played. A good opening to this match. And we've had our first goal, literally the first real attack of the game for the men in green. Lead here 1-0. Well won, though, well back by the Sappers, and they'll bring it forward again, but challenged in midfield. Good play there by Warren Smith.
It's good to see the Army Air Corps working extremely hard in and out of possession. They're putting the Engineers under real pressure when they win it back on the transition, and then they're playing through the thirds. They're going long when they need to and picking up the second ball when it drops.
A hefty challenge there by Graham Kyle, wearing number 17. Earns a bit of a word from the referee, but nothing more than that. And there's a chance to see what the Army Air Corps can do from a dead ball situation from 3 Army Air Corps. Smith to take it.
I think with the distance here, they've got to look at the second ball on this. It will drop, and it's the second phase of how they react to that will be key.
A lot of space in there as well for them to have a go at. But it's a well-taken free kick, headed across. And a chance goes over the bar. And the referee says it was a corner. I think that was Rimmel who was on the end of that. But it took a deflection, goes over the bar. So that's the first corner of the game to 3 Army Air Corps. And remember what happened when the Sappers had their first corner, they scored. Let's just see what they can do.
Again, this is something they'll have worked on. Their start positions, and then who attacks the flight of the ball will be critical.
Interesting to see how many of their players are bunched up there just on the edge of the 18-yard box as the corner comes in, and it's headed down and just over, very nearly over the line, but cleared away by the defence. But the 3 regiments really launching their first sustained attack of the game, and it's cleared away again, and a good challenge in the end from Kyle. I'm not quite sure where he knew where it was going, but it went safely away.
Yeah, that was the first corner was extremely well worked, and you can see they're going to set up pretty similar, depending on where the flight of the ball goes as to who attacks it. But they seem to get a clear header there, and it was cleared off the line well by the Engineers.
Warren Smith then will take the corner. It looks like he's the dead ball specialist. A lot of movement in that box as the corner comes in again, and it's well saved there by Ash Gotham in the goal for the Sappers.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a little bit of help there from the referee, but I don't think he was under too much pressure there.
Yeah, good decision from the referee to allow that one to go on. But this is good pressure here from the men from Watersham.
I think we're in the stage of the game now where the adrenaline's still going, still pumping through, but what they've done now is the game's calmed down and it will set into a similar pattern now for the next, up until half time for the next 30 minutes.
Quarter of an hour gone in this Army Cup final. Cross there from the left by Taylor. And it goes over the bar. I think it was Isaacson was after a corner, but the referee says no, it's a goal kick. So the pressure relieved. Good solid header from the clearance. Nice touch then by Tewkesbury, and he's still going on the edge of the box. Good cross, but no one on the end of it. That was good play there from Tewkesbury. He really got on the end of that well. Good driving forward from him.
Yeah. He really put the Engineer under pressure, dispossessed him, and then drove forward with a great cross into the box. And just unlucky that the Air Corps didn't have anybody there that could react to his cross.
Some good signs here from 3 Regiment Army Air Corps that they are able to sustain some pressure. They've certainly been the better team in the last few minutes of this match.
Yeah,
trailing by a goal to nil.
Yeah, and it is now going to see a bit of character how the Engineers get back into the game because they're under real pressure now.
That's nicely taken free kick. The ball low driven into the box by Warren Smith, but it's cleared by the Sappers defence. But a chance for Army Air Corps once again to keep the pressure going. Nice play from Kidd there. One bit of one-touch play. But the Sappers do look dangerous when they're coming forward on the break.
Yeah, I've been impressed with both sides on set pieces, whether it's corners or free kicks in the final third. It seems that it's something that both teams have worked on quite cleverly.
Creamer loses out. The Sappers bring it forward, and this young left back here, Warren Smith, constantly attacking full-back. Certainly in the programme notes, both the full-backs have got the attacking capabilities, but I've been impressed with Warren Smith so far. I think he's looked very good with the dead ball situations. He's also very much an attacking full-back. Yeah,
and he's linking well with young Tewkesbury, creating an overload down the left-hand side, which is causing the Engineers problems.
But that attack comes to nothing, and it'll need a ball boy or a gentleman over there to go and retrieve the ball. I've been to quite a few of these cup finals in the past, and usually they've been young soldiers manned at various 50-yard points around the running track to retrieve the ball. And I do remember a few years ago a former head of the Army Sport Control Board, General Simon Little, took the time to literally walk around and talk to every single one of the ball boys, which I thought was terrific. But we don't seem to have any of those today. The players have to retrieve their own ball when it goes wide, but it's a sign of the times perhaps that we haven't got the staff to do that these days.
Very much so.
1-0 in this Army Cup final if you're just joining us live on Forces Network this afternoon. 19 minutes played here in the Military Stadium in Aldershot, with a free kick for 3 Army Air Corps to be taken by Warren Smith with his left foot. Aims it to the right-hand side of the box as they jump up, but the Sappers bring the ball away, and they've got a real opportunity now. A break on the left-hand side, and this is their captain, Isaacson. Sorry, their captain, Dominic Creamer, and he wins a corner. Good counter-attacking there from the Sappers.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Army Air Corps have got to be a little bit cautious with, because they're committing men forward, putting the engineers under pressure, but when it breaks down, the engineers are very, very quick.
As they win themselves another corner. Well, the heavy showers that we had earlier seem to have abated just for now, but there are a few dark clouds lingering around Aldershot, the military stadium, this afternoon. We may well see another downpour. The corner comes in. Oh, and the failure to get the ball clear, but the Sappers still have a chance now to double their lead. Ball goes through, and it's saved this time by Ken Copeland, but a bit of misdemeanour in the penalty box there for the Army Air Corps, which almost led to a second goal.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper won't be too impressed with how he's dealt with that. He's got to be a little bit more positive and a little bit more dynamic inside the box and deal with the cross as it comes in.
But it's the Air Corps 3 Regiment bringing it forward once again on that right-hand side. Good defending, though. Keeps the ball out. It's more like a cricket atmosphere here this afternoon, isn't it, than a football one so far. Mutual respect, I think, for both teams, but it's...
I think both teams are working hard, but in different areas of the pitch at the moment. Obviously, the Army Air Corps are pressing and pushing and trying to create opportunities, and the engineers are being very rigid in the way they've been coached and the way they're positioning.
Gotham then with the goal kick for the Sappers. Solid header at the back by Adam Brown. Bit of a midfield battle at the moment. Knocked forward by Woodhead Hanson. Carlton Woodhead Hanson. Minor units finalists with 6 Army Air Corps in, or 5 Army Air Corps, I should say, back in 2016. So he knows all about playing in a final. Nice through ball there from Brown. Ball still bobbling about just outside the Sappers penalty area. Good pressure this from 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. And they win the throw-in. Good persistence there from Dan Tewksbury. Warren Smith takes the throw-in. Nice intricate play. And still the team in blue have the opportunity. This is Mark Plunkett, plays the ball out wide to Lewis Clark. Rimmel. The referee has given a free kick. That was a good decision, I think.
Yeah, it was. I'm quite impressed with how the engineers are structured. They shuffle quite well as the ball switches from left to right. But unfortunately, right on the edge of the box, they've given away a free kick in quite a dangerous area now.
It is, and we've seen what Warren Smith can do already. He seems to be the set-piece specialist here. And he's certainly over the ball, one of several players over the ball here for 3 Regiment. Just a 2-man wall for the Sappers, which Ash Gotham's obviously happy with. Free kick comes in now, and it's a good one, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. Found its way through, though, a shot on target.
He did, and the engineer keeper dealt with that quite well.
1-0 to the team in green, the Sappers, as they come forward. They've had a couple of chances. They've had one near chance to double their lead, but that early goal separating them from Adam Gollings from the corner right in the first minute of the game, as they lead 3 Regiment Army Air Corps by 1-0. 24 minutes played so far here at the Military Stadium in Aldershot. interesting rifling through the Matchday magazine earlier on to look at some of the earlier games 70 years ago, this cup final, and just to see who was involved. You know, players that are household names in professional football, but they starred in Army football all those years ago, and it's I think it just goes to show the tradition that we have in this Army game.
Yeah, and the Army Cup has a great tradition. It's extremely competitive, and I say it's one of those competitions, a bit like the FA Cup, which lasts the whole season, and obviously.
And here's a chance, just break off quickly for the Sappers as they look to increase their lead. Here's Kyle. Can't get the ball through though. It's collected by their number 10 by Ridley into the box. It's getting dangerous. A claim for handball there. Here is Ridley. Knocks the ball across. And on the end of it is their number 8. But it's blocked his shot there by the defence. Erwin Jordan's shot. It's still not out of danger for Army Air Corps as the Sappers launch a sustained period of pressure here.
Yeah, the Engineers are starting to get a foothold back into the game.
Not altogether sure that the blue defence is on top of things at the moment, and here comes Isaacson, Dominic Creamer and Graham Kyle. This is Creamer, but that's not a good ball, and it's cut out well by the men in blue, and they'll try and now steady the ship just a little bit. They were rocking a little bit there, and a second goal now would make life very difficult for the team in blue, for 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. Here come the Sappers again. A nice ball through to Creamer. He's beaten one challenge and a second. Goes down, but it was a good challenge there by Andrew Saga to deny him, but it will be a corner for the Sappers for 2-1 Engineer Regiment. I'll make it their 3rd corner of the game so far, but they do look dangerous on the break, don't they, Sean?
They do, and they also look dangerous in these set pieces. We're looking now at the goalkeeper. He needs to take more control of what's going on inside that 6-yard box. It's so strange because the Engineers are not committing a lot of men inside the box. They've only got 4 inside the actual 18-yard box, which is slightly unorthodox, shall we say.
Ridley to take the corner on that far side. Headed clear, but the danger not over just yet. Good tackle there. And a chance now for 3 Regiment to go on the break themselves. And this is Daniel Rimmel on that far side, on the right-hand side. Opportunity still there for number 3 Regiment. It's a great turn and a great shot from Daniel Tewkesbury. Great bit of skill from the young player there, from the winger, an Army under-23 player. And that was a great bit of skill there. It did test the goalkeeper.
He did, yeah, and it was a great break there from young Brown from centre half, who played the ball into the wide right channel there, and then followed up his pass, received the pass inside the 18-yard box, and still created an opportunity there for young Tewkesbury.
It's 1-0 here. This opening goal has really sort of made this a really lively match. There's no obvious stalemate here, and the game is all the better for it. Approaching the half-hour mark here in Aldershot, the 2019 Army Challenge Cup final. The team in green, 2-1 Engineer Regiment, and the team in blue, 3 Regiment Army Air Corps, as they break on that far side. But the flag goes up for offside. Not had too many offsides of this game so far.
I think he's changed his decision. I think he's given a free kick to the Air Corps, just on the edge of the final third, which will be no doubt delivered into the box to attack.
And the man going over to take that free kick is Warren Smith. It's some distance out, but he has got good power on his left foot, as we've already seen. It's a powerful weapon, and the ball snuck through there, and Woodhead Hansen, Carlton Woodhead Hansen was almost on the end of that, but Ash Gotham, the Sappers goalkeeper, was more than equal to it. One back well though by 3 Regiment, and this is a skillful looking Dan Tewkesbury. Back to Rimmel. Nicely played forward. The referee has brought the game back.
Again, I think that's the Air Corps. They're working in packs of 2s and 3s to put pressure on the Engineers, and I thought the Engineers did well to get out of that.
Yes, that could have been a tricky moment for them. Liam Davis leaves it for his centre-back, Danny Wilson. To take the free kick. But again, the chance for the Army Air Corps, that was Mark Kidd with the flighted ball, but unfortunately for them, didn't really go where he wanted it to go, so the ball is back with the Sappers again. And going down that middle, looking very dangerous once again, is Dominic Creamer. Plays for Boroughbridge, who top Yorkshire League Division 1 at the moment. A regular core player for the Sappers. That won't cause too much of a problem, or shouldn't do. But they're making a bit of a mess of it, really, the Army Air Corps there. That was a bit of uncertainty there, and unusual to see that from Warren Smith. But again, the defence not really getting to grips with things, are they? No,
I think they've conceded a corner there against a team that's been extremely... Well, they scored from the first one. They've been extremely competitive, and the other 2 corners they've delivered into the box. The last thing you need to be doing is allowing them a free corner in under no real pressure.
I'm sure if you saw that in your Army team, you'd be bawling all sorts of things at them, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, we all like to play football, but sometimes you just got to clear your lines and try and regroup further up the pitch.
Ridley then with the corner, in from the left, in from the right. And it'll go out there to Jordan Lee Hutchinson, Yorkshire lad, Leeds United supporter. He'll be biting his fingernails at the moment about Leeds United, but a chance now for Dan Tewkesbury on that right-hand side into the box. Bit of support coming his way, and it's a fantastic ball. And almost on the end of it was Stuart Isaacson. Great bit of play, though. A great bit of counter-attacking from 3 Army Air Corps.
Yeah, they've reversed what the Engineers have been doing to them. That's the first time they've really dealt with a corner. As they won the ball in the far left-hand channel there. Quick break to young Tewkesbury. It's a great delivery on to the far post, and they're just unlucky to evade at the far post.
Deserved a goal, that, actually. And I think that on the balance of play so far, just after half an hour, I think probably the 3 Regiment will feel they could have been back in this game, and they're certainly not out of it by any means, of course.
No, but they haven't really tested the goalkeeper that much, but they've created enough opportunities in the final third to put the Engineers under pressure.
And I think this is turning into a half-decent cup final so far. We often find with these matches that almost the teams are afraid to lose, aren't they, rather than wanting to go out to win it.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Engineers try a different way of getting the ball forward. At the minute, it just seems to be long ball into Creamer and see what he can get out with his pace. And it'd be nice to see him go maybe into the channels a little bit and try and go round the Army Air Corps block.
That's a good turn again from the youngster Tewkesbury. He's been a bit of a standout player for me so far. He's certainly his work off the ball is excellent, and the amount of space he's creating.
Yeah, I think looking at his stature since he was with the 23s, he's certainly filled out a little bit, which is obviously helping him being extremely competitive in the middle of the park.
And here he is again. Nice control. Never quite sure what he's going to be doing. The free kick goes in favour of the Sappers central defender there, Danny Wilson. Bit of a 50-50 ball, but Wilson just got there first, didn't he?
Yeah, just.
So, about 10 minutes to go until half-time, plus whatever stoppage time the referee decides to add. There won't be too much of it so far because we've not had too many stoppages at all. It's been a really well-played, competitive final so far. But the team in green are ahead, 1-0, an early goal from Adam Gollings from the corner in the very first minute of this match.
This is quite a crucial period for both teams, to be fair. Engineers probably be happy to go in 1-0 up at half-time, but the Army Air Corps now probably focus all their efforts in the next 10 minutes to try and get back in the game and go in all square at half-time.
Corporal Warren Smith will take the throw-in. Gets it back and lays it down this left-hand side. Chased by Mark Plunkett. Mopped up by the Sappers goalkeeper as he clears his lines, aiming for his big central attacking player, but good defensive play by Carlton Woodhead Hansen. But no danger at all for the Sappers from that one.
No, but the Air Corps have pinned them in there, and it's important now they try and win the ball back as high as physically possible and then try and create something. There's crucial times in the game, and if I was 1-0 down, I'd be now telling them to push, put more pressure on the ball, try and get back in the game before we go in the change rooms at half-time.
But it's the Sappers in possession at the moment, midway inside their own half. Picked up though, backwards and forwards it's going. Turned wide to Gollings, the goal scorer. On that left-hand side now, the Sappers looking to build here. Ridley with a through ball, but that won't trouble Ken Copeland. Some of this distribution is definitely causing them a bit of a problem here. They're going to certainly have to tighten that up in the second half if they're going to get back into the game. Still 1-0 though. Nice little touch on there by Isaacson. Aimed for Tewkesbury. Tewkesbury approaching the edge of the penalty area, gets the cross in on the end of it. Like a handball there, but the referee has allowed the play to go on, and he's given the free kick in favour of 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. I detected a handball there, Sean.
No comment.
A diplomatic answer, if ever I heard one. But nevertheless, this is a real opportunity for the men in blue to get themselves back into this match with just 6 minutes to go, 7 minutes to go until half-time.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a strike on target here. He's not going to be trying to deliver that to the back post. He's got to be striking on target here. Wind's behind him.
It's Dan Tewkesbury on the ball, along with Lewis Clark.
As you saw with the Engineer goal, if he works the goalkeeper, it's going to be difficult for him to hold it in with the ball being so wet.
Tewkesbury fires it in, and just wide. Well, it was a great effort, great attempt, but you got the feeling that Ashgotham had that one covered, but it was certainly moving, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much. It's a great execution there. He was just slightly unlucky to be on the wrong side of that far post.
And it remains 1-0 to 2-1 Engineer Regiment as they bring the ball forward again, looking to attack on the break.
I'm quite impressed with the young Corporal Brown, the Army Air Corps number 5, playing centre half. His organisation, and he's extremely committed, especially in the challenge.
He's good in the air as well as on the ground as well, and that is an important attribute for any central defender, isn't it?
It is, and he's a left-footed centre half, and you don't see many of them. Quite impressed with him.
Yes, Sean Birchnell here just making a few notes, which we'll assume are purely for operational reasons. Into the last 6 minutes then here at the Military Stadium, and it's 1-0 to the Sappers in this 2019 Army Challenge Cup final. Nice little bit of skill there by Jordan Hutchinson, but it's cleared eventually by the goalkeeper. A couple of players tussling there up in the for the high ball, and it will go out of play. The throw-in going to the team in blue. Is there anything that, you know, tactically maybe that that 3 Regiment could be talking about at half-time that you've noticed, really, in the way that their opponents are playing at the moment, that they could maybe exploit?
Well, firstly, I mean, going into the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half, this is where the coaches should be getting his thoughts together on exactly the question you've just asked me there. How are they going to get back in the game? How are they going to break it down? How are they going to create more opportunities to actually test the goalkeeper? I think they're doing extremely well to press, especially in the middle third. I'd like to see them press a little bit higher, and then that will force the Engineers to go long, and it's then important that the Air Corps deal with a long ball, and then they get it down. They've got to play through the thirds, though. They can't go long just like the Engineers are. They've got to try and play through the thirds, which they've been good at. And if they can do that, hopefully that will create more opportunities for them to obviously get back in the game.
And of course, from the Sappers' point of view, Scott Watson, their manager, he's got well experienced, isn't he? He's in Army football, Corps football. You know, he'll be pretty happy if it stays like this at half time.
Yeah, very much so. I think if you do your planning beforehand, one of the things you'll factor in is what you expect or what you would like to happen at half time. You can't obviously have control over that, but it's something you plan for. And if you'd have asked him before the start, 1-0 at half time, he'd have took it all day. Rimmel's
through ball, didn't find his man as he'd hoped. The referee is going to bring it back for a free kick to the Sappers. The challenge there on Graham Kyle, just a little bit too fruity. Andrew Saga will take the free kick. Straight out of training and straight into the squad, it said in the Matchday magazine, and straight into the first team for this final. It's not bad.
It's a great opportunity early doors, in his career.
So just a couple of minutes left then in this first half for 3 Regiment Army Air Corps to get themselves back into this Army Cup final. 21 Engineer Regiment leading 1-0. As we said, the goal very early in the match, just in the first minute. Not quite the 7 seconds that we had in that Premier League game a couple of weeks ago, but here's a chance for the Sappers to turn the screw a little bit as the first half comes to an end. It'll be cleared away by Lewis Clark for a throw-in out on that far side.
And I think the Engineers will be quite happy to have the ball down this end as the clock ticks away to half-time.
Throw-in then comes in, it's Kyle still in position, still being challenged, and that throw-in is won by 3 Regiment. Doing well with that. Into the last minute of normal time in this first half as the clock ticks down. Wide on the right. Here's a chance then for the men in green, but it's an offside, so the ball will come back. And maybe one last opportunity then for 3 Army Air Corps to get this equaliser,
A little surprised about their lack of urgency, really. It seems that they're quite content to go in 1-0 down at half-time, regroup and come back out for the second half.
That's the way it appears. As Copeland hoists the free kick and it goes into the box. Failure to clear it, and on the end of it is the Isaacson, and here's Tewksbury. It takes a deflection, goes wide. And he, for me, has looked the most dangerous player, really, as far as the Air Corps are concerned, the Army Air Corps team.
Yeah, he's a real threat, and I say when he played for the Army in the 23s previous seasons, he played in the middle of the park. He was always one of the attacking, driving midfield players, so seeing him out wide, driving at the full-back is no real shock.
So, in stoppage time at the end of the first half here, a corner. To 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. Can they get their equaliser just before half-time? The ball hops around there. It's going to be another corner, but I don't think there'll be time for it to be taken. Yes, it is. The referee has decided to allow that, so again going wide, and Warren Smith will trot over there to take the corner. This is surely the last opportunity. The Sappers keen to hold out. It's a good corner, comes in. There's several players on it, but the ball is going to drift out there. It's going to be, I think, saved, very quickly saved by, yep, Rimmel giving away, or getting the opportunity, and another chance then. Oliver Roberts this time will take the corner from this right-hand side. Good late pressure from 3 Regiment. Good corner coming in. It goes wide again, and another corner, but we're not going to have time for it. But good pressure towards the end there from the men from the Army Air Corps as the players leave the field at half-time. 1-0 it is, the score to 2-1 Engineer Regiment. Sean, your thoughts then on that first half?
Yeah, I mean, Engineers had a great start. Something they would have wished that would happen, to create an opportunity with a corner, and then to take that opportunity. I do think from then the Army Air Corps have been the better team. I think they've pressed higher, they've worked a lot harder off the ball to get the ball back. I just think a little bit more clinical in creating opportunities, I think what it is, because it's not really clinical in front of goal, because they haven't really had those opportunities. If they can create more opportunities in front of goal, they'll get back in this game quite easily.
So you think we're going to see more goals then in the second half?
Very much hope so, but it all depends on how the game plan now works. Are the Engineers happy to win the game 1-0? Probably not, and I think they'd be a bit naive if they do plan at half-time, and I wouldn't expect them to. I think they've got good players in there, they're quite competent in possession. I think they've just got to realise this and push a bit more, because they've been a little bit camped in, and I think if they let the Army Air Corps do that eventually, they'll start taking their opportunities.
Well, we're going to take a short break in a few moments' time. Just before we do, Sean, just very quickly, a word about the Army team for this year, and obviously a successful inter-services championship for you. You'd be pleased about that. Obviously, it's what you're here for, isn't it, to bring home the inter-services title? You know, you're beginning to build up a bit of a head of steam for Army football, aren't you? Yeah,
I mean, we came in as a complete new management setup this year. I brought in experience with Keith Emerson, who's been an Army and Combined Services player for quite a long time. Scott Relf, who's an infantry coach who works with the infantry team. He's come in as an assistant coach as well. And what I've done is made sure, I mean, Kev Haley stayed. He's been the new secretary that's worked with us on the PT Corps. And Carl Blackburn has come in as the, we like to call him the equipment facilitator. It sounds a little bit better than Kitman. We've got a good blend of the backroom staff, and that's always been important at corps football, and it's no different at Army football. We've managed to get quite a good reaction from the players. We've got some real experience there, from the skipper, Rob Farkins, Royal Signals, all the way down to, we've got a young Bryn Bainge, who's a Remy centre midfield player, who's 17 years of age, and the contrast in experience is vast. However, the ability levels are all there, and it's great to be able to come in and work with these players on quite a regular basis. I was a bit surprised. We actually are in quite a lot at the moment, but the inter-services, we started extremely well against the RAF down at Aldershot. The performance down there was one of the best I've seen in service football in a long, long time, and we beat those 3-0. We went down to the Navy at Yeovil Town. We needed a point. We certainly didn't go for a point. We scored after 50-odd seconds with young Stoneman scoring. But in the second half, when the Navy got a man sent off at 1-1, it was just... we just then need to close the game out, and it was quite a professional performance just to maintain possession and stop stop the Royal Navy from having chances, which we did.
Well, sums up a really good season for the Army into service. We'll talk a bit more when we come back after the break. But for now, we'll leave you and go and have our half-time cup of tea here at the Military Stadium. Half-time score here is at the Military Stadium is 2-1 Engineer Regiment, Royal Engineers leading the 3 Army Air Corps by 1-0. We'll be back very, very shortly for the second half. So welcome back then to the Military Stadium here in Aldershot for the second half of the 2019 Army Challenge Cup final between the Sappers of 2-1 Engineer Regiment and 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. If you're just joining us, you can see on the screen there that it's the Sappers who lead this game by 1-0. The goal coming very early on in the first half, in fact in the very first minute of the game, and it was from a corner with Adam Gollings getting on the end of it to fire the ball past Ken Copeland in the Army Air Corps goal, and it's given them the lead. But even Stephen really after that, both teams having some periods of possession where they could have snatched certainly the 3 Regiment could have snatched an equaliser, but also to the contrary, the team from 2-1 Engineer Regiment could also have doubled their lead. But as it stands, it's 1-0 in this 2019 Cup final. Looking forward to the second half and hopefully a few more goals to liven up the afternoon. It's the 119th Army Cup final. The history goes back such a long way, doesn't it? And it's, as I said during commentary, the very first Cup final, going back to the very early 1900s when that first Cup final took place. And people like Private Bob Stokoe, what did he go on to do? Managed Sunderland to an FA Cup victory, didn't he? And so many famous names involving the Army who went on to have great careers in football. Bob Stokoe is certainly mentioned in the programme notes here. He went on to, of course, manage Sunderland, and they beat Leeds United in that epic 1973 Cup final at Wembley. He made 400 appearances for Newcastle and Bury before becoming the second youngest manager in the country of the team in 1961, just 31, and he joined the 4th from bottom Wearsiders, and in 1972 when they were a lowly second division club he led them to safety, losing just 5 of 32 matches. Bob Stokoe featured in the programme today, just one of so many players, as I say, who have done the business for the Army over the years. The Sappers out very, very early on for the second half, and now they're joined by the men from 3 Regiment Army Air Corps. Quite a few of them, of course, over on detachment at the moment in Estonia, watching us this afternoon, and I'm sure you'll be keeping your fingers crossed that your boys can get yourselves back into this match. Referee is Captain John Brown, putting the ball on the centre circle to get us underway. His 2 other assistant referees, Corporal Hinson and W2 Slynn. And there is a 4th official here as well, who is Major Bamford. They're the people in charge of this game today. And it's been great to have alongside me this afternoon the Army head coach, Sean Birchinall, who has taken the time to join us this afternoon. And Sean, an early equaliser, I'm sure, would be exactly what the coach of 3 Army Air Corps, Lewis Whitaker, is asking of his players.
Yes, and I think if whichever changing room I was in, if I was in the engineer changing room, I'd say, look, these are going to come at us for the first 10 minutes, must weather that storm. And I think if I was on the Air Corps, I'd say, let's get at them. They just come out of the change room, see if they're asleep.
Well, away we go for the second half here in a very quiet Military Stadium. But a slip straight away and a chance for a second goal very quickly for the Sappers. But that's a brilliant tackle, a fantastic tackle for Warren Smith to deny Robert Ridley. It looked a clear goal opportunity then for the Sappers, as they had done in the first half, to extend the lead in the second.
That recovery challenge cannot be underestimated. He's come from a long, long way to recover into that central area and put a block on that shot, which, yeah, you're right, would have been a definite goal.
Well, Warren Smith, that is maybe a cup final saving tackle. That may develop later, but my goodness me, that was a terrific tackle from him. But it does mean that the Sappers have their first corner of the second half here, and an opportunity for them to double their lead from the corner. Cleared away again. They get another chance.
It was interesting, the Engineers were out 3 or 4 minutes before the Army Air Corps, stood on the pitch waiting for him. Sometimes that can have a psychological effect on teams, and as they come out of the change rooms, they look up and see them sat waiting, and it can have a bit of an effect, and you can see where the Engineers have started really well.
Ridley then to take the corner. As he floats it in, the goalkeeper was caught out there, and the ball floats away, rather fortunately for them. So 2 really good early chances from the Sappers in these early moments of the second half.
Yeah, I think I've been pitch side during the half-time interval, and the wind is really has an effect that's going as we look at it from right to left. And I think the goalkeeper's lost that a little bit in the air and misjudged the flight.
Well, Ken Copeland, Staff Sergeant Ken Copeland, is the 3 Army Air Corps goalkeeper. It's been a bit rickety sometimes at the back, and the Sappers looking to thrust home their advantage. So a bit more defending to do for the men in blue. Taylor takes the throw in. Still on the ball was Ridley, but it's won back by the Army Air Corps.
The Army Air Corps have got to get out of that changing room, or they could find themselves further behind. They're second to everything in the opening 2 or 3 minutes.
Great run. Copeland's there first, and that was an important challenge then from the goalkeeper. And Jordan Lee Hutchinson began and almost finished that move with a goal. But there's a chance at the other end now, and opportunity for Tewkesbury, but the referee had judged that was a foul, and the Sappers take it again. And they have another chance running into the penalty area. Graham Kyle. Throwing goes the way of the Sappers.
Looks like the Engineer coaches have told them to don't sit back and defend a 1-0 lead. I think they've told them to have a little go, and I think the mistake early doors by the Air Corps has given them the impetus to push forward.
It has. And what can the men in blue do? Very untidy period of play at the moment. The ball seems to be spending more time off the pitch than it does on it.
Which is right, and it suits the Engineers, if I'm honest, to keep breaking up the play, disrupt the flow. Only works in their favour, obviously winning the game 1-0.
Another throw in, but gaining lots of extra ground for the Sappers here. It'll be Sapper Alan Taylor who will take the throw in. Nice turn by Ridley Taylor and Ridley combine to get the ball in, and it's a great effort and a really good save there from Ken Copeland to deny that chance then for, it looked like Hutchinson on the end of it, didn't it? And well, they've had 3 chances now in this these early moments of the second half.
Yeah, I thought Ridley done really well there, created an opportunity there, whipped the ball in, and was unlucky with the header.
And Ridley will take the corner. Just charging forward is Alan Taylor, looking for a short one, but it does go long. And again, the goalkeeper has to hook the ball clear. As you were saying, that wind is really curling that ball in. It's making life very difficult for him.
It is, and I think it's probably a tactic by the Engineers, because they seem to be dropping it straight on him and seeing if he can deal with the... and again, you look at the game and how he's analysed it in the first half, and it's probably something that they've watched him flap at one and think, well, that's probably our best shot, put it on him.
As Ridley goes over to take the 4th corner of the second half already for 2-1 Engineer Regiment. A whole host of players waiting in the box. It's headed clear and wide eventually, and that will go out for a goal kick. So pressure relieved just temporarily for the Army Air Corps boys. But they need to show a little bit more, just a little bit more, I think, just up the tempo a little bit. They've not really shown too much so far in the second half. We've got a substitution happening, and the man going off looks like Danny Wilson. And he's replaced by another central defender, which looks like it will probably be Lewis, Josh Lewis.
I can only presume that must be an injury. I think they've got him 3 or 4 minutes after the second half, and he's probably not gone away, so change is inevitable.
And in fact, it's Alexander Oliver who's come on, Lance Corporal Oliver, to firm up the back at that defence. But a chance now for 3 Regiment. And a good try from the edge of the penalty area there.
Again, Tewkesbury seems to be the man the Army Air Corps are turning to create opportunities.
Seem to be getting a little bit of confusion about Oliver Roberts and Daniel Rimmel in their numbers in the team. The numbers that we were certainly given, which have been given to the referees, suggest that they are wearing 8 and 11 respectively, but they may have changed numbers. We're not quite sure, but we're going to stick with that just at the moment, and we'll get some clarification on that hopefully. But it's a chance goes out for a corner.
From experience, sometimes players change shirts not because they favour a number, it's because one's a medium and one seems to be an extra large.
Yeah. I've certainly come across that in the rugby just recently, and that may be the case, but I always thought that you had to present the right numbers to the referee before the game so that they knew exactly who was who. Corner comes in. Clark gets the ball out, but it's intercepted, and a chance now on the break for the Sappers. A great opportunity now for Ridley. Ridley lays it outside to his number 11. Flicks it back, Hutchinson. Still under pressure, and that is a free kick, which I think I don't think Woodhead Hansen were very happy with that decision, but it was the right decision.
Yeah, quite impressed with Ridley again. He got possession, held the ball, and then released at the right time, right weight into Engineer 11. Just unfortunate the ball went away from the goal.
So the man on the ball with this free kick is going to be Graham Kyle. And it literally is right on the edge of the penalty area. Only 2 men in the wall. But that's a waste. That's a terrible waste of that free kick. Not sure who was doing that.
I'm not too sure, but I bet the Army FA were panicking because they've only just had that scoreboard repaired.
Yes. Yes, for many years it's been showing 0-0, hasn't it? No matter how many goals go in the back of the net. We played 56 minutes here, and it is still 1-0 to 2-1 Engineer Regiment. Based up in North Yorkshire, there's been another change by the looks going off. Mark Plunkett has gone off for the Army Air Corps and replaced by Sean Donkin. So again, early doors in this second half suggests it's possibly an injury that he sustained.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem to be at the moment that the Air Corps have changed formation. I do anticipate they'll have a plan. If they're 1-0 down with 15, 20, 30 minutes to go, what they do. But it don't seem at the minute they've changed formation.
Donkin trying to get the ball forward. The referee will bring it back. We've been a bit short on quality so far in the second half, haven't we? Neither team really is up the tempo, and you would expect the team behind to be doing just that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of niggly fouls going in and out. There's a lot of ball in and out of play, just breaking it up. But like I said previously, it plays into the Engineers' hands because they don't want the Air Corps to get a foothold in the game. They want to be breaking it up, disrupting their play, stopping them creating opportunities.
Copeland goes long, and it's picked up by Rimmel. I say Rimmel and Roberts are fairly different statures, so maybe it is. There has been a change of shirt there. Anyway, we're still waiting confirmation on that. Ooh, strong challenge there. A little bit too strong by Andrew Saga, who's actually come off worse, but he has given the free kick away.
Yeah, I think it was an honest tackle. His eyes on the ball gone up. Unfortunately, the Air Corps lad got to the ball first, and then there was the collision. So referees made the right decision. Hopefully the play will be okay.
Yeah, just seeing on the replay there, it was Mark Kidd who went up for that challenge from 3 Regiment, and this is definitely in range if we're looking at Dan Tewkesbury, as we have done with dead ball situations so far. He'll be fancying this one.
Yeah, he will. I mean, looking at the player, 6 for the Engineers is on his feet now. Yeah, Tewkesbury's got a bit of time now, weigh his options up. I presume Smith will also want to have a look at it.
Just outside the penalty area. And we've seen some cracking free kicks over the last few weeks in the Premier League. Do players at this level, do they do a lot of free kick type practice? I mean, do you have your lads practicing set play?
Yeah, I have to drag young Sam Atkinson, Engineer lad who's with UCAF today. I have to drag him off the training pitch at the end of the game. Him and Stoneman, again, a Royal Engineer that just sit and want to practice free kick after free kick. And Woolwich Cup final last week, the first goal was scored by Atkinson from a free kick on the edge of the box.
Well, it is Tewkesbury seems to be lining up against what looks like a two-man wall, three-man wall. And he takes it, and it fans its way through, but Gotham was right behind it, positioning perfect, hit the target, but didn't really trouble the goalkeeper.
He's done really well because the skipper for the Air Corps was on top of him as soon.
Well, I don't think Ken Copeland will want to have a look at that one again in a hurry. A needless corner given away. That's just lack of concentration, isn't it, really?
It is, but it's the second one of the game, and I think if I was in their technical area, I'd be extremely agitated at the moment.
Completely unnecessary corner to give away. And if you're looking at reasons why the Sappers are ahead, then that actually gives you a very good indication. But they've got another corner here. They're fifth of the second half. It's taken well. And the second goal. Nearly.
And I think the referee might have some decisions to make here as well.
Maybe we can have a look at that again. Because he's going over to have a discussion. Corner comes in. Well, it was Hutchinson went down. He was certainly challenged, and it's a red card, and that surely is a penalty then, is it? It's a red card for Lewis Clark. He's been sent off, and it is a penalty.
And it is the right decision. I mean, watch the replay there, and the referee was extremely close inside the 18-yard box. Has seen that help of his assistant, who's raised his flag as well. But the right decision has been made, and let's see how the penalty.
And the man who's going to take the penalty is Graham Kyle. Crucial moments then. 62 minutes played. It's 1-0 to the Sappers at the moment. This could make it 2, and all the more difficult for 3 Regiment Army Air Corps to get back in this game. They're already down to 10 men. And it's tucked away by Graham Kyle. And clear green water now between the two.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the short run-ups when he's taking penalty kicks. However, he extremely composed, struck that with enough power to get it past the goalkeeper to make it 2-0.
Copeland guessed the right way, but it was just tucked away perfectly in the corner. A really well taken penalty. So 2-1 Engineer Regiment leading now by 2-0 here in the...
I mean, you change your formation when you're chasing the game 1-0 with 11 men. Now you're down to 10 men. They've got some big decisions to make, and this could, with against a team that can break quite quickly, this could be, it could either go one way or the other now.
Well, they've certainly got to up the tempo, haven't they? As the long throw comes in from Woodhead Hansen. On the end of it is a striker. It goes back to Tewkesbury. Tewkesbury jinks and twists. He's still on the ball. He's doing well, but he runs out of space. It goes for a goal kick. And they haven't really got going at all in the second half, have they?
No. And I say, I think the Engineers are quite happy that it's been a bit scrappy in the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, or 20 minutes now. And I don't think they'll be in any rush to do anything now.
Gotham with the goal kick, and on the attack once again come the men in green, and it's Dominic Creamer, the captain. He's teeing himself up for a shot, and he will win a corner. Takes a deflection off Sean Donkin, and the corner count really stacking up for the Sappers. That's 6 in the second half already, to add to the 4 they had in the first half. And again, it's possible that Ridley could make use of this wind here, this swirling wind around the military stadium. Hooks it in, it's cleared away for another corner.
think Ridley's effective with the in-swinging corner. I think then they go the opposite side. I think he trots all the way across to deliver again, and then it's an out-swing, and I think they lose the effect there. I think they really should have had somebody else on there that can whip it again with the wind onto the goalkeeper again. But
both teams relying really on one person to take these dead ball situations. Corner comes in. Regiment Army Air Corps down to 10 men. They've lost their number 2. They've lost their right back, Lewis Clark, sent off for a foul in the penalty area, which conceded a penalty, and it's really handed the initiative, big style, to on Engineer Regiment here. The sun shining brightly at the moment here at the military stadium. We've had changeable weather, shall we say, but a chance for the Army Air Corps to get themselves back into it if they can, and it's Tewkesbury on that far side. Needs some support really inside the penalty area, but it's won back by the Sappers. Woodhead Hanson aims it wide to the left, to the right. And chased now by Brown, Adam Brown. And he will win the throw-in.
I think even with 25 minutes to go, I think the Air Corps have now got to take some big risks. I think they've got to, you might as well lose the game 5-0 instead of 2-0. They've really now got to have a real push and try and get the Engineers on the back foot, pin them in and see what they get.
Yeah, they've got to throw caution to the wind really here. Woodhead Hanson with he's going to go for the long throw. Hurl it into that penalty area, which he does, but it's well cleared by the Sappers. Strong challenge coming in from Donkin, wins the free kick. And Warren Smith, who impressed me in the first half, he takes this free kick, floats it to the edge of the penalty area, wide, and again cleared by the Royal Engineers. The pressure still being mounted and still lining up. Great turn, good cross, low cross, cleared again by the goal kick, by the defence, and this has really been the best period of play so far by the Air Corps in this second half. The throw-in again to be taken by Woodhead Hanson. He'll hurl it long, but so far not had a lot of joy with these.
Some great work there by Lance Corporal Roberts for the Army Air Corps to wiggle his way through and create an opportunity. They've worked this long throw 2 or 3 times, and let's see what they get out of it.
Goes short in the end with the throw-in. It puts the crossover, and you just get the feeling that these moments really important for 3 regiments. Need to get a goal here if they can to get themselves back in and give themselves an opportunity to try and level it. But so far, the Sappers' defence holding firm. 10 against 11, of course. Never easy when you go a player down. Approaching 70 minutes in this match. And looks like there's going to be another change for 3 regiments, and it's Mark Plunkett who's gone off, the captain. And the captain's armband has gone to Carlton Woodhead Hanson. Another change as well for the Sappers, and it's Erwin Jordan Beg pardon. Graham Carl, it looks like, has gone off actually, and no, it's the number 6 going off. So Andrew Sager going off. And a couple of changes. So Carl Matthews definitely on for the Sappers, number 12. Clearly they're going to need to they're changing the formation, but here's a chance now for the Sappers if Hutchinson can get on the end of it, but it's Copeland copes well with it, clears it.
It looks like the Engineers have gone quite offensive, which is yeah, not such a shock. I think sometimes it can be quite easy when you're winning 2-0 in a cup final to sit back and defend it against 10, but the opposite is to have a go at them.
Well, they must feel with 10 men, up against 10 men, they can do just that.
Yeah, and I think at 2-0, next goal's critical. If there is going to be one, if the Air Corps get it, their tails are up and they'll be at them. But if the Engineers get it, I think that'll be done and dusted, game over.
And they're certainly looking the stronger of the two at the moment. Ball goes out of play and it's going to be a goal kick. Driving forward though, a real opportunity now for the third goal, and that is the third goal, and Dominic Creamer has scored the goal, which surely is going to be enough for the Sappers. He just picked the ball up and really waltzed his way through the defence, didn't he? It was a very simple goal really, but Creamer gets the goal. It's 3-0 now, as we see here, really unopposed there, and no chance really for Copeland. And 2-1 Regiment Army Air Corps look like they're going to have their name on this famous old trophy for the very first time.
Yeah, I mean, the header that was won in the centre of the park allowed young Creamer to go through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he extremely composed finish underneath him into the back of the net.
So 73 minutes gone. That's surely the killer goal now. And what we were saying about the Sappers upping the tempo clearly paid off, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think the Air Corps have changed to a 3-4-2 to obviously try and keep going forward, and I think...
And another opportunity, and it whisks just wide. Alexander Oliver there for the Sappers. And it took a deflection, and so it will be another corner. But he looks quite dangerous since he's come on, Oliver. Number 12 for 2-1 Engineer Regiment.
Yeah, he seems to be extremely direct, extremely fit, and I think the Air Corps they've got to make sure they compose themselves. They don't want to get embarrassed in a cup final.
No, corner floated in. Goalkeeper comes, doesn't make it, but there's a foul in there which has been given by the referee. Heading towards the last 15 minutes of this 2019 Army Cup final. And an emphatic 3-0 scoreline at the moment in favour of the Sappers. And another change is being made by the team in blue. On comes number 17, that's Matthew Marshall. So Rimmel off and it's Marshall on. And I suppose Lewis Whittaker, he's used all his third substitute, he's used all his options now off the bench to see if he can get something out of this game. But it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I think I've been quite impressed with 2-1 Engineers since they've come out in the second half. sometimes it can be quite easy to come out and defend a lead, but they've come out and had a go right from the off, and it's amazing how a mistake from the Air Corps lad in the first 10 seconds of the second half has really give them the impetus to push forward, and they've taken opportunities that have come across, and the sending off, although extremely valid, as will really change the game for the Army Air Corps, and I find it very difficult for them to get anything now.
Just a reminder of the scoring so far. We'll just wait for this free kick to come in, but it's 3-0. We've had 2 further goals in the second half scored by the Sappers, and they don't look like letting up just yet. The header through and a corner. Lewis with that header. So they scored their first goal in the very first minute of the game with Adam Gollings from a corner. The second, a penalty scored by Graham Kyle after Dominic Creamer was adjudged to be fouled in the box, or rather Jordan Lee Hutchinson was fouled in the box, and then the third goal was taken by the captain Creamer to make it 3-0. And Lewis there trying to impress.
It's difficult now for the players, for the Army Air Corps, because they've given everything they've got, and especially down to 10 men now. The engineers have changed and gone quite offensive at them, and they know with 15 minutes to go they're all unlikely to get back in the game. They'll keep working, but it's going to be a real challenge for them.
Yeah, they just need a bit of spark, a spark of inspiration here to the boys in blue, to at least give them a sniff of a chance. 3-0 though, very difficult, as you say, Sean, really to see a way back for them. And I suppose the priority for them now is maybe not to concede any more as well, as you say, to keep it a respectable score.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to see them embarrassed, because I think for a good 35 minutes of the first half they were the better side, and if they could have just created a couple of more opportunities in front of goal and tested the goalkeeper, it might have been a different story going in at half time.
Alan Taylor with the throw in, nodded forward by Matthews, and here's a chance now for them to make it 4. Oh, and I say that was almost an open goal there. The ball crossed by Hutchinson, and it was a real chance for it looked like Erwin Jordan who went in there, and
I think if he had a bit more confidence in his left foot, we'd have been at 4-0 there. He went with the wrong foot, I think.
But here they come again, and here is Jordan, and that ball flashing just wide. So shots raining in really now on the 3 Regiment goal.
I understand where the Army Air Corps have obviously got a game plan to try and play through the thirds and play out from the back, but unfortunately when you're chasing the game you need the ball when they're attacking, or you're attacking third and not in your own box, and they've got to get it forward as quickly as possible now.
The 10 men holding out at the moment, they're just keeping it to 3. And the ball cleared away there by Alexander Oliver. Alex Oliver, Lance Corporal. A long-range effort. No trouble at all for Gotham, who, if we think about it, he hasn't really had a difficult save to make in this game so far. He's not really been tested too much, but here's a man who could test him. Tewkesbury on the ball, still using some great skill.
Yeah, I must say I've been quite impressed with young Tewkesbury. He's, obviously I know his ability, I know his attitudes. He's got great attitude to wanting to play the game, but he's done exceptionally well out in the wide areas today.
What's the difference between, you know, being successful at under 23 level and making that step up to the senior team, Sean?
there is a real difference in the physicality of the levels.
Hutchinson still on the... Oh, and he's brought down, and that is a free kick on the edge of the box. Andy Cochrane, who's the substitute, has come on, showing his annoyance with that. That could so easily have been a second penalty.
Yeah, because again, it's right on the edge of the 18-yard box there.
Ridley is going to take it. Just one man in the wall at the moment, and Ridley's got this ability to bend the ball, which we've seen from corners. Copeland happy just to have one man there in the wall.
Yeah, very surprised with that decision.
This could easily be a fourth. He hits it, and it's cleared. And Copeland has taken an injury. Looks like he's taken a knock to the head. So the referee has stopped the play. Quite rightly. So just going back to what we were saying, Sean, you know, the difference between the step up from under 23 level possibly to the senior team.
Yeah, I mean the physical element is extremely important. The knowing when to expect contact, etc. when you're in possession of the ball. The game's played a lot quicker in the fact that the ball moves a lot quicker and the players with better ability can move it quicker. Technically, the 23s are some of those boys that have come through, young Thompson and Baines this year, technically as good as what we've got. But I just think it's... But also, experience is key, especially... I mean, we've got... In the squad that started the game this year, we've got 9 that have won the inter-services previously. And I think that played a big part in being able to kill the game against the Navy down at Yeovil.
I mean, talking of the under-23s, obviously the Navy won the under-23 championship this year. They looked very good side, didn't they? And lots of promise for them for the future. Yeah,
they did. But I think the 23s go in a cycle. We've got a very young 23s this year with 17, 18-year-old players. When I was involved, we had quite a few that were 21, 22. So it can work it can work in that favour sometimes. What the Navy did cleverly this year, they brought quite a few Royal Marines in. And physically they dominated the 2 games that they played. So, but no doubt Griff and Paul Hughes that run the 23s, they've assessed what went on last year. They'll regroup, ready to go again this season.
Well, it's a free kick inside the centre circle then for the Sappers, which will be taken by Robert Ridley. Almost a nice hockey style body check there. Gave the free kick, which is taken short and spread wide onto the right hand side. And out of play once again for a throw-in, which will be taken by Graham Kyle. Still the ascendancy for the Sappers here, looking for a 4th goal.
Again, it looks like the Engineers are quite happy now just to break up play, he says, as
they
they
look
go
dangerous every time they go forward.
But I think they're more content now just to keep possession of the ball, and there's no real threat going forward now from the Air Corps, so they've just got to win the ball back as high as they can.
Just 5.5 minutes plus stoppage time to go. There'll be a bit of that with the substitutions that we've had. Army Air Corps chasing forward. A nice bit of play there by Mark Kidd into a chance for them, and a shot from Kidd, and he gets the ball into the net. Mark Kidd scoring the goal there for 3 Regiment, and that makes it 3-1.
Like I was saying, the Army Air Corps don't have a threat going forward.
The commentator's curse strikes Sean Bush. I think maybe overall in the game they have deserved a goal, haven't they? I think, as you said, for their first half performance they deserved a goal, and they'll be pleased to have got that one. It was a really good move. Mark Kidd finishing it off.
Yeah, very much so, and don't underestimate that for the team when they go in at the end of the game and they've actually got something out of it.
but it's not going to change the course of this game, I don't think, or the destination of the 2019 Army Challenge Cup. Although a lapse of concentration from the Sappers, and who knows what could happen if we got a second goal here, then that would make it interesting going into the last few moments.
Yeah, it would, and the effect this will have, the Engineers will sit a little bit deeper now. The Air Corps will think, well, throw caution to the wind, got nothing to lose.
And there we are. That's the answer you have there, with Adam Gollings making sure the ball goes as far away as possible. That was... I'm just thinking about a different sport that could apply to, but maybe not. Literally, the ball has gone as far away as it possibly could, down to the far side. And a chance again. Oh, and they're through once again, and it is going to be a fourth, and a similar move really to what created the third goal. And it's Dominic Creamer getting his second goal of the afternoon to make it 4-1. Well, we've got a glut of goals here. Creamer put clean through once again, and he's not going to make any mistake with that. Absolutely delighted. And that really does guarantee the Army Cup to 2-1 Engineer Regiment.
Yeah, that's a great finish. I mean, the Air Corps have pretty much gone to 2 at the back here. They've gone a 2-4-3 formation to try and get back in the last 5 minutes, and unfortunately a simple header through, and young Creamer's took the goal really well.
He really has. 2 goals for the captain, and you know, wishing to be modest about this, but I did say before the game that it might be interesting to see whether the Sapper or either captain could be on the score sheet this afternoon. Well, at least one of them has been. Yeah,
and he has been a live wire from the start. I mean, he was their go-to man when they were breaking, counter-attacking, and then he's been what he's done cleverly. He's been in between the 2 centre halves each time that the ball's gone through, and he's gone through on the goal and been quite composed in front of the goalkeeper.
Just a couple of minutes left of normal time here in this Army Cup final. The Sappers looking for another goal, but here come the Air Corps. That's a great effort, and it just goes high and wide. And that was Roberts having a go, and nothing to lose at this stage in the game. Sorry, Matthew Marsh, that was. My eyesight not what it was. 4-1 the score, emphatically in favour of the Sappers here. 2-1 Engineer Regiment. They're going to win their first Army Cup in the 119th Cup final. Bright sunshine now here at the Military Stadium in Aldershot, and as Copeland takes the goal kick. Again, it's a chance for the Sappers to come through one more time. All sorts of gaps opening up at the back. And I think it's probably a decision that we expected, but we can tell you who the man of the match is. Sean, as is the tradition in football commentaries these days when it's being televised, it's usually down to the match summariser to make the decision. But I think on this occasion it's fairly obvious who would have been selected.
Yeah, young Creamer there. I mean, he started off the first half as being their get-to man when they're breaking. And he's been quite clever with the ball in the wide areas, obviously linking play, and then second half he's taken his opportunities really, really well. And it's good to see somebody who used to represent the Army. Hopefully will come back in next year when we get together in September and see if we can get him back involved with us.
So Dominic Creamer, yeah, and He's certainly put on a captain's performance today, leading the line for his team. Man of the match, 2 goals, and who knows, he might even get another one. But we have 4 minutes of added time for this in this second half, and there's plenty of time for more goals. Ridley with the corner. Comes in, it's headed clear though by Kidd, and he'll go for it again as the Air Corps break one more time for 3 Regiment. Nice intricate play, but oh, it's lost, and it's a real chance for another goal. It is another goal, and it's Dan Tewkesbury who's got it. So we've had a flurry of goals in this second half. Dan Tewkesbury is the scorer. And just looking at the replay here, it was a defensive mix-up, wasn't it? But nice interplay in the end. Tewkesbury slotting the ball home. 4-2.
And again, I've just spoke there about young Kramer and looking at the Army Air Corps side. I think young Tewkesbury's deserved that. He's been the best player out there today by a long, long way. He's created things, and quite pleased that he's managed to take an opportunity.
So, excitement here at the end. It was looking as if it was just sort of fizzling out really as a game, but 4-2 makes it look pretty exciting stuff here in this Army Cup final. We've certainly not been denied the goals.
And it's great desire and great commitment by both sides. They haven't stopped playing now. I mean, we're in the 92nd minute, and they're still pushing to try and get back in the game, and it's great to see. It
is. I mean, they've done so well to get here. Both teams obviously done brilliantly to get here. It's their first cup final, and hopefully they both enjoyed it. They enjoyed playing in it. I suspect maybe the one person who hasn't is Lewis Clark of 3 Army Air Corps, who was sent off for a foul. But they're still trying to go forward again, and that went hopelessly wrong. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt there, said the wind caught it.
Yeah, wind got it, tied legs, I think. But as you said right at the start, I mean, these are 2 units that have never won the Army Cup, and you'll never know when you're going to play in one of these again, and an Army Cup final, and it's important that you keep going for as long as you can, because you never know when it will come around again.
Oh, another slip up and a chance again for 3 regiments, but it's cut out in the end by Gollings. End to end, we could have goals at every single end. Not an offside, so my goodness me, it's end-to-end stuff here in these last few moments of the cup final. That is offside though. Matthews just caught offside. That must have been quite a tight decision. Referee looking at his watch, and I think he's happy that very shortly he's going to be blowing the final whistle here on the 2019 Cup Final.
And again, I think he's done well as in the middle of the park to manage that. He's had to make a big call. Unfortunately for the Army Air Corps player, it was the right call, but I think he's managed the game very, very well out there.
Cleared again, and that will roll out of play. We've had our 4 minutes of stoppage time. 2 on Engineer Regiments. We'll be taking the Army Cup back up to Ripon in North Yorkshire. A well-deserved victory in the end, but spirited opposition in 3 Army Air Corps, who, had things been just a little bit different, it might have been a different result here this afternoon. But here's Hutchinson, challenged, and it's unfairly, said the referee. So, a free kick. Taken by Ridley. Well past our 4 minutes of stoppage time. We're very close to the end now. Headed clear. And that is the final action of the 2019 Army Cup final. And it is a victory, a clear victory for 2 on Engineer Regiment. by 4 goals to 2 against Regiment Army Air Corps. And in the end, the right team won, Sean, but all credit to the men from the Army Air Corps for making a really battling performance, especially towards the end.
Yeah, to be fair, really competitive game of football. Both sides, you can see, have been structured well. They've both been set up to play a certain way, 2 different contrasting styles, but you can see that the coaches have worked extremely hard off the pitch to make sure they get out there and do the business. I thought the Army Air Corps first half didn't just shade it. I thought they dominated possession and could have easily got back into the game after the early setback that the Engineers scored very early on. But I was quite impressed with the way the Engineers came out the second half and really went for him. The sending off had an effect on the game. It was the right decision, but the effect it had was then the Engineers could push because at 2-0 down, the Army Air Corps had no choice but to throw caution to the wind and just try and attack, and unfortunate for them, they were then picked open a couple of times.
They were. These are great scenes out there on the pitch, especially obviously for the winning team, and moments like this, as you said in commentary there, don't come along very often, and it's really important for the players, especially the winning team, to make the most of it.
Yeah, all the work that goes into behind the scenes by the staff, they'll enjoy this moment as well. We can't forget those, but obviously the players there, they worked extremely hard, and like you say, I've been in the Army 29 years and never ever coached or played in an Army Cup final, and these boys they've got to experience it, and what they've now got to do is make sure they enjoy it later on tonight.
Lewis Whitaker taking his players just away to our right at the moment, just to maybe console them a little bit, and to put an arm around them and say, look, you got to the final here, you've got this far, you've fallen short. Not a lot you can say really, I suppose, but apart from encouraging them and say, look, this is the cup final, you've got to the cup final, next time we can go one better.
Yeah, and I think if I was in his position now, I'd be quite pleased that they didn't embarrass themselves, because it could have got quite embarrassing towards the end. And they had a go, and they obviously then scored 2 goals themselves, which was extremely pleasing, and they'll be proud of that. They will enjoy the fact that they've played in the Army Cup final. They'll be extremely proud that they've managed to score 2 goals, but they will be disappointed with the overall result.
On the other hand, WO2 Scott Watson, who is the manager of the Sappers team, well, it's going to be a nicer celebration for the boys, I'm sure. They've run out here very worthy winners today, and man of the match, of course, is their captain, and I think you've already picked him out as someone that you might be looking at, Dominic Kramer, for the future, and several other players we looked at as well. I think Warren Smith for the Army Air Corps, and also Daniel Tewksbury as well, who has played at under 23 level, and maybe we could see something of him at a senior level.
Yeah, and I think also with the Engineers, young Ridley's done exceptionally well. We played in the 10 for them, and who's obviously represented the 23s last year. We don't have trials with the Army senior team anymore. We have a pre-season training camp, and I will invite players in to have a look at them, put them in an environment with the established Army players to see if they can compete and hold their own at that level. And we conduct loads of games, 3 or 4 games, that give them the opportunity to showcase what they can do and see if they can establish a place in the squad. And it is extremely competitive, but the door is open to anybody who's good enough.
That's good to know. The gauntlet put out there, Sean. We're going to have the presentation very shortly made to the 2 teams. Obviously the winner's going to receive the famous old trophy and their medals. It'll be the turn, though, of the losing side to come up first, and we are hoping to be able to maybe talk to the winning captain before we finish our broadcast here. Brigadier Neil Stoke there from the Board of Trustees of the Army Football Association, saying a few words which hopefully you were able to catch a little bit of. So it'll be the turn then of the losing team to go up and collect their medals first, or maybe the officials first, I think, are going up to receive their recognition for a job well done. Captain John Brown, who refereed the game extremely well, and his assistant referees today, Corporal Hinson and WO2 Slynn, also receive their mementos of a job well done. Not too much for fourth official Major Bamford to have to do this afternoon, so he'll be pleased about that.
No, he's got a freebie there.
Challenge Cup final. Please show appreciation to 3 Regiment Army Air Corps.
So 3 Regiment Army Air Corps, led by their captain, PO Petty Officer Stuart Isaacson, former Navy Cup winner with the Royal Navy team, and he comes up to receive his loser's medal, and followed by the rest of the team, getting warm applause here from the crowd. Played their part today with 2 goals, 2 second half goals, which certainly made this a cup final to remember.
Hanson of our Challenge Cup sponsors, Tailgate Insurance, and now present the Man of the Match trophy. This goes to 2-1 Engineer Regiment, number 9, Dominic Kramer.
Yeah, Dominic Kramer then, the captain, is the man of the match. 2 goals and a captain's performance today for the winning team.
Yeah, really impressive him today. I think he led from the front, and yeah, it's good to see him on the winning side.
Now Pam will present the winners' medals for this year's 119th Army FA Challenge Cup final winners, 2-1 Engineer Regiment.
And so the team come up there to receive their medals, and they receive warm applause from their opponents, 3 Army Air Corps. Adam Gollings with the first goal, a penalty in the second half by Graham Kyle, and then 2 goals from Creamer to make it 4-2.
I think with an Engineer Regiment winning it, they ought to sort out these steps to make him a little bit bigger for these trophy presentations. Same every year.
A bit like Wembley, perhaps.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that's going to the other extreme. And these will be the moments that they will remember as...
And it's good to see the coaching team up there as well, because sometimes, as I do, you keep out of the way and let the players enjoy the moment, but it's good to see them also enjoying the moment.
The famous old trophy now to be lifted by Dominic Kramer, the captain. Great moments, and moments they'll savour forever. As you said, Sean, it's not everyone who gets a chance to do this.
No, and again, I think they'll enjoy the moment and they'll enjoy tonight, and they'll start planning hopefully to retain it next year.
And what we are hoping to do is to get a camera and get a microphone down there to the winning captain to see whether we can snatch a quick chat with Dominic Kramer, the captain, before we end our broadcast here, just to get a reaction really from the winning team. And I think Julian Evans will be heading down there very shortly to talk to them. And just while he does that, Sean, I'd imagine that the 3 Army Air Corps team are just going to want to disappear, aren't they? Now they've done their bit and they've played their part at the end there, shown their respect. They just want to go away and forget about it.
Unfortunately, yeah. One of the worst things about playing in the cup final is that you will now go back into your changing rooms. It happens to be next door to the team that's just won it, and you'll soon know when they enter their change rooms and when you're getting in the shower. But that is part and parcel of football. Someone has to win, someone has to lose, and I don't think at all that the 3 Army Air Corps embarrassed themselves. I think they've competed extremely well. They'll look back on it and think maybe a chance lost, obviously, to win the cup, but they'll regroup, and no doubt they'll come again next year. It's a hard competition to get to the final stages of, extremely hard competition to win, and they'll know that, and it will hurt for a little bit, but then they'll regroup and they'll get back on it.
Is it getting harder to win this competition, do you think? With the competitive nature of Army football these days?
Yeah. Units now will focus on certain sports that they want to be competitive in. With football being the soldier sport, you obviously, commanding officers will want to win this competition, and you see the pictures from this, you'll see the pictures on Facebook, you'll see Soldier magazine, and commanding officers want to be part of this, and this is what drives, and obviously the extremely competitive unit football drives into core football, and then feeds into service football when the players come to me, and it can only make us stronger as a service.
Well, I think we are going to be able to hear from a member of the winning team. It's probably, I think it looks like the coach, Scott Watson, for the Sappers. Talking now to Julian Evans.
Yeah, I'm delighted to say that I've got the winning manager, Doc Watson, with us. Look, congratulations, you got the perfect start. Scoring as quickly as you did, it really did put 3 Regiment Army Air Corps under pressure.
It did, it put them right under pressure, but I think after the goal they were probably the better side in the first half. We sort of went to sleep a little bit after we'd scored that first goal and didn't really start. To get in at half time, with a lead, that was the aim. But I think they're maybe the stronger team in the first half.
Of course, you came out all guns blazing in the second half, and the sending off probably the turning point, I should think. And you'll probably concur with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it did sort of change the game. The lads still cracked on as normal, and give them credit. They cracked on with the 10 men, but I think it maybe changed the game a little bit.
For your season to come here and win the Army Challenge Cup, it doesn't get much better than that for forces footballers.
No, absolutely not, and that's what we've been talking about all week this week. This is a sort of once in a lifetime opportunity for these guys, definitely to come here. The pinnacle for the lads at Army football.
Of course, last week we had the Intercorps final, the Woolwich Cup. Not many members of 2-1 Engineer Regiment involved in that, but a chance for them to show what they can do today.
Definitely, yeah, and that's something that we'll see. Unfortunately, our guys, they do. Not many of them have played for the Corps this season, but hopefully, what they showed today, a few more will go down.
Yeah, it's a long season for you, so to come away and conclude it with silverware, you must be over the moon.
Yeah, still not over yet actually, but we've got another final next week in the Sapper Cup, so hopefully it's not the end of the silverware, but yeah, this is the pinnacle.
Well, look, congratulations to you. I was going to get your skipper, but he's dealing with Soldier magazine, of all people, so we'll let him do that. But chance for you to celebrate and then get your heads back on and squared away for that next final next week.
Exactly that. That's the focus will switch now after today to the Sapper Cup final on Friday. Thanks a lot.
I wonder if we can grab... No, can't grab the skipper either.
Thanks very much indeed, Julian. There with Scott Walker, the team manager of 21 Regiment or 2-1 Regiment, for Royal Engineers, and congratulations to them. And that really brings us to the end of our coverage here today from the Military Stadium in Aldershot. A 4-2 victory in the end for the Sappers, defeating their rivals from 3 Regiment Army Air Corps, 4 goals to 2, 1-0 at half time, and then a flurry of goals in the second half. Just like to say a very big thank you to the people who have all been responsible for today's broadcast here, which hope that you have enjoyed wherever you're watching, and particularly thanks to Sean Birchnell, who's joined me in the commentary position this afternoon as our co-commentator and named the man of the match quite correctly as well. Sean, good to have you with us today, and good luck to the Army, obviously, for the forthcoming season, which of course is a wee while away. I think we're in for an interesting time in inter-services football. Certainly had the UK Armed Forces team have been playing today as well, and there's some exciting stuff coming up, I think, in the next few weeks, isn't there? You know, with various things. You're off to Jersey quite soon.
We travel tomorrow morning. Yeah, we're out playing the Southern Counties Cup final against Jersey FA. Boys are really looking forward to that. We fly out early, play the game. It's their Liberation Day, so we're expecting a few thousand watching the game, which will be really good for our experience. And really looking forward to it.
Sean, thanks very much indeed for joining us today. We wish you all the very best with all that. And that is it from us all here on behalf of all the team who've been here today at Aldershot at the Military Stadium. This is John Knighton wishing you a very good afternoon and saying we will see you again very shortly for a lot more sport here on BFBS.